Resistance is futile. The end is inevitable. Life and death are as one. All things must flow and change. All living things must someday die.
Rune Factory got good again, guys. Guardians of Ozma is the newest spin-off in the Rune Factory franchise, a franchise that is itself a spin-off Fantasy Harvest Moon. It is a very cute and laid-back series. Guardians of Ozma is also an apocalypse story. The nation it takes place on is designed to end. It has been ending for decades, ever since an event that our characters call the Celestial Collapse, a cataclysm that splintered the earth and nearly killed Ozma's gods. This is not an accidental tragedy. It is what the nation was designed to do, destroy itself when death seemed inevitable so that it could become a new healthy land. The god of the heavens herself tried to stop it and she failed. Knowing that, it seems impossible that our protagonist, entirely human, could do anything to undo this end of the world. Our protagonist is an Earth Dancer, better known in other Rune Factory games as an Earth Mate, and so it is natural for them to awaken the gods and try and heal the land. It is natural to try and help fix things. But when the end of the world is already in motion, when the gods themselves are powerless, how can any one person stand against total annihilation? This world was designed to end. That is considered by the story of the game to be entirely natural, but this apocalypse has also been accelerated somewhat to its conclusion. There are outside forces, a team from the west determined to see Ozma fall from the inside out. They are not forces of evil. The Tagasanbruk, the agents of this collapse, do not consider themselves forces of destruction, but of creation. Their goal is really kind of practical. If Ozma is destroyed and reborn, there will be an entirely new nation to build, a nation that can replace the one that the Tagasanbruk's leader lost. Clarice, leader of the Tagasanbruk, is the princess of the Zex Empire, a name that will be very familiar to you if you've played any other game in the Rune Factory franchise. They are an antagonistic, encroaching force that was totally destroyed 2 games ago, decades before this one takes place. But toppling this kind of regime doesn't mean it's just gone, right? There are still people. There is still land. There are still ideas that pervade decades after the empire collapses, ideas so strong that they can travel across the ocean and take root in the most vulnerable land possible. And there is still Clarice. Clarice, who feels entirely beholden to this genetic destiny, even if she doesn't want or believe in it. My empire, founded upon a legacy of greed and destruction, stole so much from the nations around it, she says. Ultimately, that which we stole was stolen back, but that was all inevitable. We're fated to follow an endless cycle of theft and loss. The Empire's blood-stained path leads only to destruction. We cannot live without taking from others. This is her way of begging for death after you defeat her. She has done all of this hoping to be stopped, and in the end she would rather die than live in the world her family has created. Death, to her, is the only escape she can envision from her own destruction. And of course, instead of granting her request, the protagonist, the Earth Dancer, literally severs the specter of hatred from her body, frees her soul once and for all from its connection to the curse that has driven her this far, and says plainly, you can break that cycle of theft and loss. It's easy to despair at the world when faced with its ugliness. It takes absolutely no work at all to surrender yourself to that feeling. And really, how can you not? How can you look away when the society you're entrenched in is rotted to the root? It is much, much harder to be faced with this, to know it, and to go on hoping for a better future anyway. Because hope isn't something that is passively felt the way despair is. Hope has to be worked for. It is earned. You can break the cycle of theft and loss, but it has to be you. The world won't fix itself. Clarice isn't the final fight to contend with. Clarice is a person. With or without her, there would still be the nation itself and its suicidal tendencies, the literal beating heart of Ozma that is threatening to burst at any moment. It is doing what it was designed to do, and it is inevitable. All living things must someday die. To this, the Earth Dancer says,
So what?
So what? It's fitting that the true final battle of the game doesn't end with an attack, but a dance. This is not a story that culminates in conquest and felled foes. This is the antithesis of destruction, a celebration of life when faced with certain death, hope in action. Because, yes, all living things will someday die. Maybe we are all truly powerless to do anything but sit back and watch, and maybe the gods themselves say the end is inevitable, but maybe the gods are wrong. There's really only one way to find out.